Well, hello and welcome to Bowtie Life. I'm Bowtie David, Zone 9B here in Destin, Florida. We talk mostly about life in the garden, and yes, we are in the garden. We are over here at the tomatoes, and I am going to be spending some time today refurbishing the tomato beds. And just yesterday, a friend of mine, Bernard, told me that he could cut off the bottom of a tomato and grow it anew, and he was very surprised. And I thought, certainly I've put videos out about that. I think I even said that to him, and I don't think I have. But anyway, we're going to do a little more about tomato care and how to get the tomato bed ready and so on and so forth. So coming up, we have more of our garden tours coming, so be sure to subscribe and don't miss a thing on Bowtie Life on YouTube. For those of you who have subscribed, thank you very much. You are my heroes. You have made Bowtie Life what it is today. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So first things first, this is the end of bed number 3 of our raised garden bed tours. This is where we had tomatoes growing last year. It's a little bit low right now, but that's okay because we're gonna fill that thing up. And over here on the end of bed number 2, you can see we already have our Everglades tomatoes coming up real strong. We're going to put a few more tomato plants in here. Now, one thing to take note of, I actually have shade cloth up already, which I'm very excited about. Now, these are 50% shade cloths. You can see that over there is lighter than this. And the reason is, well, this is a single 50% shade cloth. That's double 50% shade cloth. And I am experimenting this year to see if I can make more success for this part of the garden here where the tomato trellis is going to be. Now, last year, you may have seen from the garden tours, I was very proud of this area. It was well overgrown with tomatoes. We had so much production from this area that, oh yeah, I was just very pleased. So, and there comes our morning jets. We do live amongst 4 air bases, 2 airports, and a heliport, so we have a lot of air traffic out here. Anyway, so we're going to refurbish this bed completely, and this one over here, in fact, I think, nope, I already pulled it up. Well, one thing that I have over on this bed number 3 is there are already tomato plants volunteering. Now, I don't know what kind of tomatoes those are. If I look right here, I know that I had a Super Sweet 100 growing in here last year. Now, Super Sweet 100 is a hybrid tomato. If I let this grow, I don't know what it's going to be like. Hybrid tomatoes are a combination of multiple parents, and a plant from a seed of one of those tomatoes could come back as literally anything, any features of the parents. And so I like Super Sweet 100. I don't want to risk any variables that we don't want to see. Now, that one over there is kind of over near where I had the Nebraska wedding, and we love our Nebraska wedding, but I am not going to risk it. I'm just not going to risk it. So we're going to go ahead and end up covering over all these tomato plants. We'll be planting in 4 Nebraska weddings, 4 of something else, or there's some jelly beans that we'll be planting in here. Hopefully, eventually, we will have some more Super Sweet 100s to put in here. I have already pulled out and set aside the irrigation lines. These actually just lay down over on the other side. I designed this so that I could just do this and pull out a part of it. I will be filling in from, that right there is garlic. And I have to watch the garden tour to find out what's up with that. But I'm going to build a little bit of a wall, and we're going to fill from here down. Now, when that garlic is done, and when that Brussels sprout is done, we will be filling that section up to a certain point, and we will be planting our, oh, I don't know, zucchini or something, squash. I'm not sure what we're going to put in that section yet, but that's another day. We have garlic growing there right now. So anyway, I just want to set up the tripod here and let you kind of watch what's going on here, and I'll talk through a little bit of it. So these are my current tomato plants, kind of ready for going out. They're about, I don't know, foot tall, looking pretty good. They've just been fed with some fish fertilizer, and we have, actually in this one cup, we have 4 Jelly Belly. Little tiny, it's a very small cherry tomato, and then we have 2 Nebraska wedding here and 2 here, which I'm going to separate out. Now, I did plant plenty of these, but I've had a terrible time with germination this year, needless to say. And so when I double sowed this cup here and that cup, I thought, well, I'll be cutting one off. I probably said that in the video that I did those in. I thought, well, I'll cut one of those off and just have the one. Well, because I have so few, I decided to keep both, and we're gonna go and take these out and plant them. So I have here a bucket of just plain water. This is my Hori Hori. It's a really nice gardening tool. You can dig a nice hole for a plant. This is not a requirement, folks. You can use a steak knife for all I care. Doesn't matter what you use. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna be planting a tomato, one about here, and I don't know, a couple of feet over, one about here. And we'll be putting a tomato cage around these with a little bit of extra support. In fact, something I just saw this morning from Growing a Greener World. If you're not familiar with Joe Lample and Growing a Greener World, you should go over and watch his stuff. He has a lot of just great content. It's actually a TV show from PBS, but you can find them on YouTube now. But anyway, so this tomato was recently watered and fed with fish fertilizer, and I'm going to pull this thing out and I'll show you what this bucket of water is for. You can see there's a lot of good roots in here. This is really looking strong. A lot of those roots are encircling. Is just not quite, but about to be considered root bound. So to pull this apart, we can just yank, but a friend of mine showed me a real neat trick, and he is a very, very experienced gardener. He's got a lot of years on me, but if you stick that root ball down inside the water, look at that, it just practically falls apart. Now you have 2 phenomenal root balls, completely intact. I broke off a couple of little pieces. I heard them snapping, but not very much. And this is ready to go in there. Now, I'm also going to not bury the same depth. More roots can grow along here, which will give this thing more strength below, down here in the lower end. These roots will continue to grow deeper, and a nice big root ball will just be nothing but, ooh, what is that? Okay, leaves. Would just be nothing but healthy. So, going to take this, I'm going to pick one more of these off because I'm going to bury it right about there. And I'm going to give it a good head start like that. I just filled these as you saw, so I'm still kind of straightening things around. But for the sake of production, I'm trying to get this done quickly. Not that you would notice any difference, but so I'm going to move this over. This is a Nebraska wedding. The seed was planted March 10th. Today is April 29th. So you don't want to leave these things out to dry out very long. If you're ever concerned about that, you can just take that plant and dip it in the water, give it a little moistening up. Really, I don't think it makes a lot of difference, but you know, whatever. So these plants, you'll notice I'm planting them fairly deep. Those roots are going to take off. Now this one is kind of touching the bottom. I'm a little discouraged by that. So I'm going to go over here and get one of these sleeves that we grew something else in recently. And I'm going to keep those leaves off the ground as long as I can. Same thing over here. Just try to keep them off the ground. The ground has all kinds of nasties and ghoulies in it, so if you keep those leaves off the ground, supposedly you'll have less disease, less insect pressure on them. So I left 3 full sets of leaves on both, and this one here actually has a brand new one coming out. Oh, they both have a brand new one coming out the top. that's all there is. I'm going to be putting, now we know what the tomato cages are, those cheap wireframe cages that we put around tomatoes, and frankly they are not strong enough for tomatoes, and so I'm going to be doing something a little bit more reinforced with mine this year, and you will just have to watch a garden tour, the raised bed garden tour coming up soon, to see what I do with these. But that's basically what I'm going to be doing with the rest of these plants through here. So you notice I've got those Nebraska wedding, I don't know, 1.5 feet, 2 feet apart. These are 2 feet apart. That last one maybe just 1.5 feet, but those are determinate tomatoes, which means they're only going to grow so big. That's it. They'll give the tomatoes and be done for the season. This Jelly Belly is an indeterminate, which is why we're growing it on a trellis. We want this thing to grow up the trellis. Now you'll notice I've got 4 of these in here, and they're kind of tight in here, so I'm a little worried about the survivability of them all. So I'm going to end up planting all 4 of these on this trellis. And I'm going to take off these lower leaves, just like I did the other ones, because they will grow more leaves up top. But I'm going to see if I can separate these in the bucket. And yes, I still have the bucket. It's the same bucket I used on the others. I didn't change a thing. Get a little water in there, let it soak in a little more. Jelly Belly tomatoes. These are from Ferry Morris. Again, I planted them on March 10th. So when I pull these out, I guarantee there's going to be a lot of roots in here. I want to try to separate these. Now I could try to pull them apart. It's a lot of breakage, but I'm going to do my friend's Richard's method. Kind of wash a lot of the dirt off. Let me just do this up a little more up here, and I can feel little to no breakage in there. So there's 2 sets of plants. Ooh, I might have felt some breaking there. You get into a big clump of roots like that right there. Oh, that came out pretty good. So we will plant these 4 plants in a row along the bottom of this trellis, and it will be this year's pride and joy, I hope. I'm hoping. So, same thing as before. Get this out of the way. Just gonna basically try to spread these out about, there's some dollarweed root right there. Don't need that. Okay. If you don't know what dollarweed is, watch some of my garden tours, you'll see it everywhere. Just letting that sit there and go. Ooh, you see what I just did there? That was silly. Okay, so, like I say on a lot of my videos, I am a new gardener, so I'm still learning. Trying not to kill my tomatoes like I just did that one. But anyway, follow along with the garden tour. See how these grow. We'll talk more about these very soon. So in case you're wondering what all is on these trellises, 2 years ago, I grew beans on this trellis. So these are 2-year-old dried bean vines. Last year we grew tomatoes. That's all off of here. Anyway, thank you for following along today on Bowtie Life on YouTube. For those of you who have subscribed, which by the way is free, if you want to subscribe, just click that subscribe button. And those of you who have subscribed, you've made Bowtie Life what it is today, and I do appreciate that. We are trying to grow the channel to the next level. Once we get there, we'll be able to do so much more. And so if you are just finding us, Bowtie Life on YouTube, this is my own personal journal of the things going on. I now know that April 29th, I planted out these tomatoes. And by the way, I did another round. I'll do another round of tying up on the Everglades over there. But yeah, my own personal journal, my ADD brain. I've tried journaling, I've tried photography, I've tried the little app on the phone. I just can't, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. It doesn't keep me interested, doesn't keep me going. These videos keep me going. I'll sometimes play these videos while I'm getting ready in the morning to get me excited for the next project, and occasionally it'll remind me of something. Oh, I was supposed to do such and so. I'll run out and do a 30-second to a 5-minute job and then continue on with my morning routine. That's just kind of how my brain works. So anyway, please subscribe. As I've already said, it's free. Please subscribe to Bowtie Life on YouTube, and don't miss a thing as I over-document everything in the garden. Yeah, I know, I over-document. It's on purpose though, there's a reason. So, we got more garden tours coming up. This will be at the end of bed 3 on the raised garden bed tour. I do everything in the same order every single month. Thank you for following along. Y'all have a blessed day.